Good morning. Good morning. Oh, there we go. YouTube was having a little bit of a problem on their end. It looks like it is all caught up now, though. So, something with that streaming data. I don't know why it always messes up, but hopefully everything is smoothed on out now. So, good morning. Good morning. We've got a big show today. There's quite a bit to talk about. We've been seeing some more geopolitical rumblings. We're seeing some news about an IPO that it might be the IPO of the decade. I've been talking about it for a while. We'll get into that one in a little bit. It is also FOMC day, so expect some volatility this afternoon. We've got quite a few areas to keep our eyes on. But before we get to all of that, we got several things to take a look at, both on the TradFi side and on the crypto side of things. So let's get over to that screen share. We had OCs pulled on up here in the background. We were talking about a few things, but uh, we've got a few things to go over here in the stock market. We're seeing a little bit of a mixed bag this morning. We've got Apple down 0.62%, Nvidia up 1.84, Berkshire Hathaway sitting down 0.23, Amazon up 0.25. We've got Eli Lilly seeing some sell off today, down 2.36. We've got ExxonMobil up 0.26. We've got Tesla up 0.9, P&G sitting up 0.04. We've got Microsoft down 0.03. Everyone later. All right. Well, we've got Bitcoin up 1.6%. We've got Ethereum up 2.5. We've got BNB up 1.7, XRP up 1.2, Solana up 1.7. We've got Tron down 0.6%. We've got Dogecoin up 1.9 and Cardano sitting up 1.8. Hype again taking some spots in the market cap, up two more positions from yesterday, sitting up 20.3%. For the fear and greed meters today, we got that stock market at 67, sitting in light greed, and the crypto side of things still sitting in some fear, no change from yesterday. And for some liquidity on the chart today, we've got both sides here on the higher term time frame to kind of keep your eyes on. It looks like that stream is really laggy. Alexander, we've got some liquidity on both sides here. Looking like that top side coming in at 91,300 all the way up to about 93,500. So an area to kind of keep your eyes on, especially with all the volatility today. We might start to take up some of that 2-week liquidity. We've also got some on the bottom side at 85 at 900 all the way down to about 85,400. So kind of keep your eye on that area too. This 3-day is where we really see liquidity grabbed up when we get volatile moves. So if we do get some volatility towards the downside with the FOMC, that area to kind of keep your eye on here is 86,900 all the way down to about 85,700, an area OC was talking about yesterday. So keep your eye on that. We might get a little bit of volatility. For this economic calendar today, we've got quite a bit of data here. So we did get a few data drops this morning, 30-year mortgage rate applications, looking like we did see a little bit of an increase there, not a whole lot of volatility coming out of that, but it does give you a basis for that 10-year yield as well. We've been seeing a little bit of some buying pressure. The yield on that has been coming down a little bit. Housing sales getting a little bit of an increase off of that. We did see the Bank of clock p.m. Eastern time and 2:30. So keep your eyes on that time frame. That will be when we get our volatility. Let's get your screen pulled on up here, OC. I know you had a few levels to go over on Bitcoin this morning. So what you got for the people?
Absolutely. I'm a little bit, come on, I'm a little bit mad, but it is what it is, right? That's what we planned for. In fact, we did plan for this one to play it out this way, but come on, it was just so perfect that seems like Liquidity Hunters was watching. We're watching my charts, man. So, for example, this is what we were talking about, right? I buy it up in here at this area, right? And then I executed another 50% entry right here on these two purple lines, right? So average entry, it was somewhere around 89,507, while my stop loss was at this area at 90,230-ish, right? So what happened yesterday we had the possibility to bounce off it, and I moved my stop to entry, right? Not only that, they went right to hunt that liquidity out in here and then bounce off it. So big rejection candle, looking for a possible short at this point, but be aware that we haven't broke the trend line. So they went in, hit me here. We knew this is a resistance, so we don't buy up, but I was expecting it to reject just ever so slightly right below of that. Nonetheless, it is what it is, right? So let's just clean this up for a second. I think this is still valid. Oh, not that one. So actually, let me just get rid of that. So I think this is still valid. So let's just update it what I believe it's going to happen or where it could be happening. So we're just pushing it to the right. Let me clear up this part really, really quickly, just so we get couple of things ready. Here it is. And well, long story short, we haven't broken this trend line. This is a little bit of a hard trend line to draw. Why? Because if I go strictly for weeks, I'm going to be doing something like that. And we have a lot of buffering here, while we also have this support that I place in here, right? But if I go something like that, we will have many more touches and we are more in sync, but that also means that we could be in danger of break. Important here is that we might be seeing something like this, right, with a triangular pattern. And if that is the case, that most likely is going to end up breaking to the upside. So we still need to wait for a complete rejection in here, even when we are at the bottom. Remember last time we did that. So we bought in here and then we bought back in here, basically averaging down. We're not going to be doing the same thing at this point because it is extremely dangerous at these areas. And why is it for? Because we have gone way longer in this range that I would really consider not going for that. So important, we're still pretty bearish, but look at the volatility is pretty high, so that we have a real chance to break above that dynamic reactor. Again, I'm not going to push it. We just need to wait for whatever the results out of this movement. But I strongly think that we're going to get a triangular pattern, so keep your eyes open for that one. Other than that, let me just go really quickly over River, because River is playing out exactly as we were expecting. In fact, seems like the thing is just following up our drawings, right? So we have a support area right in here. Let me actually get rid of this box. And we have, we were looking for a bounce breakout, having a lower high, our entry for a short. I hope you guys did enter for that short right there, as we were also losing or below our zero line. So very important. Right now we are on the neckline. So this is the neckline of that double top. We are trying to break it. If you are on profits, make sure you move your stop to entry. For me, I'm not quite there yet by taking profit at this moment, right? I think we can still push, and I'm okay by making a $0 or a $1 trading here, right? So that's why I'm pushing my stop to entry. So I'm cutting out the possibility to lose. Right now, I'm going to be trying to position myself for whatever is going to be the next big trade, whatever it's for the uptrend or for the downtrend. All right. So I'm setting up a short, or already have it set up a shorty here. I'm moving my stop to entry, not taking profits, because if we enter on the bear market throughout this upcoming week, I'm going to be prepared. And if for difference we start coming back at it, what are you looking at, my friend?
Well, our stream seems to have gotten a little bit better, and then it dropped out, and then now it's picking back up again. So, it looks like it's trying to maintain. I don't know if this is just all on YouTube or if this is because this is brand new streaming software. So it doesn't really have any settings that I can mess with. So hopefully it is all just a YouTube thing because I'm not sure how to fix this on the new software. But I did have a few things to kind of go over on Bitcoin as well. I know there's a fair value gap that I was talking about here on the daily time frame the other day. This is that area where we're kind of looking for some resistance at. We got extremely close to the bottom side of it. We were looking at 89,500 to be a little bit of a sell zone up to that fair value gap. Pretty much exactly what happened. We're starting to see a little more bottoming here. So we'll kind of have to see if we can get some continuation here on the shorter term time frame because we here on the shorter term time frame because we have lost a lot of our kind of keep your eyes on some of that volume on the shorter term time frame. As you can see, that 4 hour candle already taken back all of the gains that we got from that prior 4 hour candle as soon as we started stepping into our resistance area. So we'll kind of have to see if we can go a little bit lower to get a little bit of some dollar valuation on that IPO. This could be the IPO of the decade. I have been waiting for this for a while. There was some rumors coming out at the end of last year, and it looks like it's actually going to happen here. So, SpaceX IPO, June of 2026. We did have a few things to go over on the Dixie. We called out the levels to kind of watch for a little bit of bouncing yesterday as we were looking for the potential for some downside. And Trump had a talking about how the dollar is doing great as it was making new all-time lows for the past 4 years. So we haven't been at levels like this in for the Dixie in 4 years. So doing great, you know. We've got this coming out of the US as well. Trump says the US will know of some government toppling. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. Normally gives us a little bit of volatility on both the TradFi side and the crypto markets. Keep your eyes on some of that. We did also have the FOMC. Sorry about the blinding white screen here. But today, FOMC widely assumed to be a rate pause here. Doesn't mean we don't get a little bit of market volatility off of that. I would look for that Jerome Powell speech 30 minutes after for your volatility. Like we were calling out earlier, we have several levels, both towards the upside and the downside, to kind of keep your eye on. And with all the volatility with Jerome Powell speaking, we can definitely grab up both sides. So 97.2%, no interest rate change on that. I know you had poly markets pulled on up, OC. Do you want to show the people what you were seeing on poly markets around the FOMC?
Absolutely. Let's go for it. All right, so we were talking about a couple of things, right? I mean, right before the show, you were mentioning that what's going to happen with what happened with the U.S. dollar, right? Something interesting right before we jump into the poly market. Let's talk who is there in X, right? Look at that, President Donald Trump, and as you mentioned, right, says that. Threatened to go, it says just like Venezuela, President Trump threatened to attack Iran like Venezuela. He said US dollar is doing great after losing a negative or not negative a 10% of its value. But look at the interesting part. Look at who's DJing in, bro. Let's get it. Trade volatility. Let's go, Ari Piper. Great to have you there. We're watching it. We're watching, yo. All right, so talking about things that might happen because I was speaking with BC right before the show, and we were debating, hey, what do you think is gonna happen, and this and this and that, and I said, hey, you know what, we have Polymark. Let's actually go and take a look at what the hell is happening there, right? Fed decision, 50 basis point, 25. I'm going for the 25 basis point. What is your opinion here, BC?
What was that on the 50 basis
Federal
points or
decision in
25?
January. Yeah.
Oh, I'm assuming no change. So it looks like there's some really, really degen people that are just betting the extreme odds, which is what I've seen a lot on Polymarket. They're like, what'll give me the best payout? And they're like, well, 50 basis points. Here we go. Even though that's not an option.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like that meme coin strategy, right? I mean, as long as they put, I don't know what, 20, $50 on each of those, and as long as one goes under favor, they basically cover for everything else. But yeah, I mean, I would actually say that meme coins at this point, they're much safer than poly markets betting against the odd. I don't know. That's my feeling at this point. But other interesting things is U.S. government shut down Saturday, dude. Again, really, you're mexifying it, your government, bro. I love it. I love it.
I have no complaints on government shutdowns. I'm not a big fan of the federal government as is. So the
Mhm.
more they spend time fighting with each other and leaving us alone, I'm happy. So they can do their little thing, fight over whatever nonsense they want to fight over and shut it down. And things don't really impact the general population so much. So I'm okay with it.
Well, we actually saw last shutdown. It actually was good for the markets, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So they stayed
Oh, yeah.
away.
Well, and I mean, that's actually the trend. When governments shut down, you don't have a whole lot of regulation going into things. You don't have the government being able to intervene because the government's not open. And this is normally decently positive for the markets. So we'll keep our eyes on
Right.
that one. Government shutdown on Saturday.
Let's go. Another one that we were talking about is what will Powell say during January press conference? I was going for percent 25 limit on inflation. I don't think that they're going to be shooting for 40. Although 40 is actually winning at this point, but I don't think that he's going to drop that bomb. I think he's also playing politics at this moment, although he shouldn't. But we've seen that politics is in within his speech, and not because of Donald Trump, right? But because of economy. I mean, here's a dilemma, right? And I've thought about this many times, right? So, and let me extend this conversation to you, BC. What would you do in this case, right? Let me put the hypothetical scenario. Let's say that you are, I don't know, the president of a bank, right? And the inflation is bad, and then people are taking their money out. So what would you tell the people, right, in general public? Would you say, hey, everything is all right, you be okay, knowing that if everybody listens to you, right, because that is a lie, right? But if everybody listens to you, you have a chance, a real opportunity to make things better and not collapse, or be honest and accelerate the drop down maybe on a bank, right? So, or you would be honest and tell, you know what, we're not doing great. Come take your money while we can give it to you, right? So I think that's kind of like the thing. So are you being honest and accelerating and promoting the actual crisis, right? So is that ethical at all? Or you're lying, but you also have a real chance to make it good for everyone. So what do you think about it? Because that is an actual like dilemma that I mean, a hypothetical scenario that I always had in my head.
So, I mean, honestly, my answer would be a little bit of both. So I'd let people know that things are a little bit worrisome, but I'd also let them know that over the long term it's going to be okay. So don't take your money out, put more money in, because you're not going to
Right.
get better buying opportunities going forward. So even though everything things are a little bit on fire right now, doesn't mean that it won't get better later. So yeah, that's kind of what they do anyway. And it's like, yeah, the
Yeah.
bed
Yeah.
the bed might be on fire, but everything's fine. I was pretty close to using Piper's "Everything is fine" with the room on fire for for the thumbnail today.
Oh, love it, love it. And I'm down with you, man. I mean, I think they're always, I mean, talking about politics and economy, because when you have real power over what happens with people money or people's situation, you need to be extremely careful. You need to be, I would say, it on the stay good right? Work for the people's side of things, whether that even means protecting them from the worst case scenario by not really coming out for the full truth. And I think that is something that I really need to applaud to Jerome, because I mean, despite whatever everybody can like or dislike about him, he's been really on that line, right? On that sense of line, which I think that's what we should be seeing out of a president. We'll see how that goes when he's out of that chair. And hopefully he has a great next upcoming job. I'm sure he will. And
Oh yeah.
lastly, S&P. What is it?
Oh, and we also might get the announcement to whom Jerome Powell's replacement is this afternoon after the FOMC. So that's another biggie that might shake up the markets on top of FOMC. So keep your eyes out for that one as well. There's four picks. Christopher Waller, what that was one of the Fed board members right now, and he's one of the ones that's been leading towards 50 basis point rate cuts when everyone else has been like 25 basis point rate cut, or let's hold the rate steady. Waller has been like 50 basis point rate cuts, or like we need to cut a whole percentage. I'm like, this dude is wowing.
It is. Holy shit, yeah. I mean, we'll see how that goes. Certainly it's going to be a big impact. Another heads up, guys, if you want to know what's going happening in the world, I would say that Polymarket is a great news site. Just saying, right? Because you can see what people are betting on. And for example, you can get the heads up on things that I did not have the pinpoint on it as much as I kind of would go for, right? For example, right here, president election winner 2028. So are we already talking about that? Holy Jesus. So I mean, now that we have Republicans versus Democrats, oh, okay. So that means a presidential shakeout. That means that maybe at this point we will see some push on the government to, like benefit whoever might be going for the next chair. So, I mean, we all know, right? If the president has a preferential thing, they not only try to make a better call for themselves, but also kind of prepare the path for their work to prevail, right? Because it takes like two administrations to actually set on stone and ongoing motion. So just saying, another one in here it is, and like I'm telling you guys, news happening here. What price Bitcoin hit in January? 105 or 100? There's not actually 78 or 80K. So that will be pretty interesting. And the same thing goes for Ethereum. So just saying, this is not predicting the future, just giving you topics. So if you're looking to trade, I would say, Bitcoin and Ethereum might be good options to look into. But so far, that's what I got on poly markets. Let me pass it over to you. Do you have any other news that you are looking at that maybe we should be interested on?
I didn't have any news to go over, but I did want to pull up that Dixie chart since we both just talked about the dollar here, because we were calling out some levels towards the downside to really keep your eye on as we were approaching this 10-year trend line that we've held for a while. And this is also the move that I've been calling out for a while now, because we've seen this nice constricting price action here on top of our trend line, and things weren't looking overly positive on our indicators here. This is also what gave things a little bit of a pump in our crypto markets and our TradFi markets. We were calling it out. If we get that dump on the dollar, you might see a little bit of some pumping in Bitcoin and some pumping on your TradFi assets. Definitely got a little bit of those movements. We got a nice little bounce here off of that 700 moving average. But like I was calling out yesterday when we were getting that drop below, to kind of look for that bounce down here to see if we can get a little retest on this trend line to potentially move even lower here. So as you can see here on the shorter term time frame, this hourly did get that nice bounce off of that area that we were looking at, really struggling here up towards that 97 area here on our chart. We'll kind of have to see if we can get that push continuation push back up to really retest on this trend line on that higher term time frame, and then see what happens after, because I do expect a little more downside here. Came extremely close to our 786 here. That's at 95.1 that we were calling out yesterday. I do expect a little bit of a test on that area to see if we're going even lower for the Dixie. A lot of this is all by design. One of the easiest way to manage your trade imbalances is just to weaken your dollar. And that's a lot of what we've been seeing more recently. We've had that. What you want to show the people.
Absolutely. Just to wrap it up with some politics and stuff, Justin Senator Agriculture Committee might be the next upcoming thing. And guess what? Well, we have some bills on the way, right? So having these being approved, that is a huge step towards the right direction. I do have kind of like that sentiment between right and wrong, because as being yeah, I will actually call myself a Bitcoin maxi, with some shades, of course. But I mean, looking at Bitcoin as a currency, I would kind of like to have it regulated, because that opens up to mainstream, which means higher value for Bitcoin. But at the same time, hey, when are we circumventing the BS that happens all over the global markets, and when are we having our own money, right? So this was also representing that, and having it regulated, well, it kind of like hurts a little bit, but it's an unavoidable step, right, on the right direction. So despite it's a bittersweet bite, it looks great. Hopefully it plays out as we go. So other than that, let's take a look at a couple of things in here. And we have just in S&P 500 reached a new all-time high of 7,000. Well, who could have knew, right? So, well, as dollar drops down, what else is there to pump up? Well, also gold. So something important about gold, and that's what I'm bringing this up. We have another possible. So keep your eyes peeled for gold. I think we're gonna have just like another goose hit, And let me show you really quickly. We have a goose hit here, and we got a goose hit here, and a goose hit here, kind of like that one. So we can expect a little retracement, right? Or for the worst case scenario, a flat area, a further move to the upside, and then a bigger retracement. So let's bring up my predictive ranges to see how they are being calculated. And well, those not predictive ranges, of course, those are supposed to be other ones. And let's see where is our top right there based on those predictive ranges. And for some reason, I'm not able to get them for whatever reason it is. So not sure what's going on. All right. But I don't have predictive ranges so far. I'll have to investigate why. Let me see if I can turn them on manually. So, oh, I know here it is. Where is it? Predictive ranges. Let's just take out the fill. Click OK. Wait for that to play it out. Load up. There it is. So we are on a purple line. That's pretty amazing. Why? Because once we break the purple line, we could be looking for the next setup. And we have a big support. So what I'm expecting here is a rejection, then a breakout of that purple line, regeneration of a new setup, and then finally a direction. Something important, we have a loud order block, but gold, it's known not to visit those loud order blocks fully, so you just half of the way through it. So hopefully we get that new pump and then a bigger retracement. I'm after that bigger retracement, because if not, we're accumulating that volatility, and maybe 127 on silver. But yeah, so far that's what I got. That's all that I have been looking at. And well, I'm gonna be waiting for today's FOMC meeting to see what happens.
All right. Well, we talked about hype before we even went live because we were seeing some crazy movements on it. And it's been a little while since I've taken a look at the hype chart, but I figured we could do that today. We were calling out some areas for some potential bouncing here on hype. We did get that nice little sweep below to grab up some of that liquidity. We got the move back to our fib extension levels. This is the 236 on our fib extensions, where we started to see just a little bit of resistance here. We'll have to zoom this in on a shorter term time frame. Daily does look like it is starting to pick up just a little bit of volume, but I would expect a little bit of some pullbacks like we're getting right now before trying to see a little bit of continuation here. So let's zoom this on in. Take a look at that hourly here. As you can see, we did get that nice little double topping action. We got a little bit of some support down here at our 20 moving average. We'll kind of have to see if we can hold that. If we don't end up holding that, looking for some movements back down towards the downside just a little bit would be the move to kind of watch for. Let's get a shorter term time frame fib pulled on up so you could see what retracements levels to kind of keep your eye on here. As you can see, we do have our 236 being that next real area to potentially look for some bouncing at. That's coming in at $31.75. If we can't hold that level, we did get a nice little pause here on the move towards the upside at the 382. That's coming in at $29.81. That'd be that next real level I'd kind of keep my eye on for some potential support. Looking for a little bit of a retracement after some moves like this would not be too unexpected. Hype has moved pretty much 50% towards the upside the past 2 days. So looking for a little bit of some pullbacks would be the expected move here. You got anything else you were looking at? I see you got a chart pulled up in the background there, OC.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it. So this is just a Bitcoin background, but I wanted to go over the alerts that we had, right? So we already have talked about Beaver that is playing out exactly as we were expecting. Great. Not always we have that level of precision on time. So that's pretty fantastic. Remember just to keep an eye on that neck candle that is playing out at this moment. We also had a hype trade that is keep pushing. I was expecting on this area to have a little bit of triangular pattern. Let's push it up a little bit, and that is because we not only have a reversal, right? We also can update this. There it is to this previous high, and we're going to be looking for that 33% retracement for a possible reentry on hype. Keep your eyes on this because if we're ranging here, it's going to be a continuation to the upside. Shout out to hype. Another thing that it is Tia. I was talking about, hey, you know what? Remember that we had an open trade for Tia, and I was expecting a pump. And I mentioned if it doesn't pump in the 24 hours, it's doomed. So go ahead and close that trade because it did pump, but it didn't even hit the resistance. So too bad for TIA. It is what it is, right? So let's go for that. We are supposed to, or we are either not enter or we enter and we should be slightly underwater. So go ahead and take out that trade. We're going to be waiting on the next opportunity. Another one, it is BNB. Remember that we had an open short on BNB. And then as we have the stiletto pattern in here, we open up a long position at the trend breakout retest for the stiletto, and we are pushing through this area. So shout out to BNB. It's playing out very nicely so far. This is an important candle. If this candle close with that big wick at the bottom, I believe that we might have just a quite enough opportunity to reach out this area somewhere around 927. So yeah, that played out very nicely. Another one that I had in my radar, it was TRX. TRX, remember that we had a short ongoing. It's been very nice. We took it out here, so we're out of that trade. It is what it is, right? It continued way lower. And at this point, I think that we should be looking for a possible reversal. So where would that reversal go? Let me just clear this up because we're out of that trade and bring up my indicators. This is going to be a little noisy, so bear with me, guys. And I believe that we're gonna hit some big supports somewhere around here. And well, we have a smart money entry right there, not too far away. So let's mark that box, and we're going to be looking for a possible reentry somewhere around there. So create an alert, and off we go. Remember that we're going to be pairing that with the flip of the ribbon in here, an increase of money flow. If we get that, I think that would be a good scenario to go for this retest, maybe find that short again, and then short it all the way down to 27.90. I think that will also be a cool option there. But yeah, that's what I got so far. I'm trying to stay away of trading too much. So yep. I mean, in stocks, I'm looking at Netflix. Netflix, it is sorry for that. It is pumping right out of the area that we were expecting. Did not come back down for a retest, which is fine. And well, then I'm looking at this point for a breakout of that trend line or a sweep of the lows. But other than that, that's it. That's what I got on every market.
All right. Well, I did have one other chart to go over today, and then we do have some earnings to go over for the end of day. So a little extra volatility here, but we were talking about UNH yesterday because they were supposed to get some earnings at the end of the day. End of the day, UNH and Humana both got a very nasty earnings report. UNH got a big sell off after market. We saw that nice strong move to our weekly 700 moving average here before we saw a little bit of some bounce action, but things are still not looking positive. UNH and Humana, the two biggest insurance providers in America, both getting hit extremely hard here. As you can see, Humana got that nice strong sell off, drop it below our golden pocket. We are looking for a level here on Humana, $189 for a little bit of some support. We will kind of have to see if we get to that area or if we're going to drop even lower, make a return back towards our platinum pocket area of $134 for UNH. Things also not looking positive as we're making that move towards the downside here. We do have that potential to get all the way down to our golden pocket area, 248.20, if we can't hold those levels. Revisiting all the way back down here, 195 to about $200. That's that little zone to kind of keep your eye on for that. For the earnings for today, we have several earnings to go over. Let me get over to that two-person. We've got Tesla earnings after market close. We've got Microsoft earnings after market close. And we've got IBM earnings after market close. So, on top of our FOMC volatility, Jerome Powell speaking, the potential of a new FOMC Fed chair announcement, we also have some of the biggest stock earnings of the week. So keep your eyes on that. We got a lot of volatility off yesterday's earnings after that market close. We could also get a lot of volatility off today's market earnings close. So, you got anything else for the people, OC? Because it is 2 minutes till wrap up.
Well, not much. Basically, just stay safe. I mean, we might have a lot of volatility. If you're a DJ, make sure that you are in lower time frames. Manage your risk. Absolute manage your risk. And we might have a fun little afternoon at the announcements. We'll see how that goes. But other than that, stay safe and use the stop loss.
All right. And you're going live this evening, sir?
Absolutely. We're going to be touching back on the hype, and we're going to be doing some hunting after the storm has passed. So we'll see where to put up some coins. Let me just check out my wallet because I did give some kind of entries yesterday. Not really serious entries. I put down kind of $100 on each coin. Let me just bring it up because I had that feeling that some chains might be pumping. So just to keep Oh, wrong button. Just to keep you guys tracked, I did bought $300 on Ethereum. I had what else? $100 on Polygon, $100 on BNB, $100 on Solana, $100 on Cardano, and that was pretty much it. Mostly everything that had its own network. Why? I just had that feeling that with the volatility, we might be seeing an increase of movement, so we were gonna be having some gas fees on those networks. But yeah, doing fantastic so far.
All right. Well, I am extremely close to having the new show planned out for the afternoon time frame. So keep your eyes on that. I should be going live here this afternoon here on Piper Academy. So getting the rest of everything planned on out. Make sure to tune in to Alexo Crypto if you like to trade FOMC and you like playing with some volatility, because that man's an absolute beast at trading FOMC. But until next time, make sure to use a stop loss, and we will see you in the chats. I will see if there is someone to send us over to as that outro plays out. Y'all have a great Wednesday and a great FOMC day.
That's the rap. Chart stack data never lie. Piper led the mission, OC in the sky. Spaghetti on the screen, but the vision stay prime. Chart prime visual, signals on time. Alumni strong, we built from the grind. Lessons in the market that'll outlive time. Knowledge is profit, you know how we run. Till the next one, stay sharp, get it done.
You can't handle the truth. Emotional damage.
We'll see you at the next
They don't
one.
know what the fuck they're doing.
Morning market report out.
Boom shakalaka.
We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report. We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report. Ow.